Last lesson of Unit 3. This is Lesson 6, and this is the end of World War II and the effects. So you're going to notice that the causes and effects from this lesson are actually going to overlap with Lesson 5 a little bit. And I'm going to give you a little bit more definition and explanation why. So again, I want you to see the aftermath, the effects of World War II with this. So to kind of build up to it, I got to backtrack a little bit. So we're going to go all the way back to the 1930s. This is pre-World War II. This is Great Depression, and you're going to notice that right when Hitler is going to take over, he is going to immediately start this rhetoric of not liking Jews. And a very famous Jewish person during the time, scientist Albert Einstein. So he's actually going to split out of Germany. He's going to come to the United States. And knowing what he knew about what Germany was capable of doing, he writes a letter to FDR and he says, "Hey, FDR, you should really think about this new technology, this new innovation of splitting nuclei." So, what it does is it releases a truckload of energy known as a nuclear bomb. So, when he puts all this in paper and FDR reads it, he's like, "Oh crap, I better get going." So start the Manhattan Project. So this is us developing this highly secretive weapon that very few people know about. And I cannot stress that enough that people did not know what they were doing. They broke this whole project into small pieces, and people all around the United States all had to put the final, I guess they were working on the smaller pieces, and it was only a few people that knew how to put the puzzle together. So you're going to notice that when this is all said and done, yep, sorry about the bell. But you're going to notice that when all this is said and done, this is going to be the brain baby of bottom right hand corner, Robert Oppenheimer. You're going to notice that he was the person really behind it. He was the brain that put it all together. So the whole idea was Einstein's about nuclear energy and such. But Oppenheimer was the dude that actually built the bomb, if you will. So when he puts all these pieces together and they test it off, he was absolutely scared crapless of what he just made. So he's actually quoted at the bottom where he says, "Now I am death, the destroyer of worlds." Now, to give you an idea, you can see the stats there of the light flash, the sound, and just how big this was. And this wasn't even the biggest nuclear weapon that was used during World War II. So why this whole thing matters is that you're going to notice that this weapon, if used against people, is going to have catastrophic effects. But question to get us going, Einstein reported to FDR which Axis power was close to their own nuclear weapon. So again, repeating a slide here. So President Truman, when he found out about this nuclear bomb, he knew what the American soldiers were facing. Heavy losses, Japanese people were not giving up, and he also knew that he would have to use it in a dramatic way, and he'd have to use it against civilians. So he decided to drop the bomb, and we saw the effects from it. Okay. And here are the pictures. So picture on the left is pre, picture on the right is post bomb. So notice what's not there anymore. Pretty much the whole city. When it gets a little bit closer, you can see the devastation that this bomb had. And again, a lot of this is threefold. One, the actual impact. Two, the sound of the bomb, basically the energy releasing, if you will. And then three, the radiation that's going to hang out in the air that's going to cause a lot of sickness to happen. So you can see how hot it got. This is pretty close to the surface of the sun, if not hotter. So it just basically caused people to either evaporate or right away or melt the skin off of people. And then this is obviously a really gross picture of something that's left of just straight carbon. So if you've ever done the snakes during any sort of 4th of July where you put the lighter on it and they grow, that's what carbon is. And that's basically what's happening here, just mutilated bodies. So again, you saw, yes, we dropped 2 bombs, and you saw how many people were killed or missing. That is something to take in consideration. So why am I taking the time to explain this just a little bit more? Is because, oh, I forgot about this question. Sorry, the United States dropped how many nuclear bombs on Japan to get them to surrender in World War II. And it's worth noting that even after the fact, when somebody asked Harry Truman, "Hey, did you ever regret dropping the bomb?" He has it in his own words down here at the bottom. "I have no regrets. Under the same circumstances, I would do it again. And this letter is not confidential." So he wanted people to know that, dropping this nuclear bomb, it had a lot of negative stuff that happened with it, but he saw it as a wartime necessity. And that's one thing we can't really judge him on because we have never been in that position. So we were not a president that had to send potentially millions of soldiers to their death if they were to go into Japan. And then, as we already talked about, Japan surrendered, with World War II now officially being done. So true or false, Truman regretted using the atomic bomb. But here is why I'm kind of explaining things just a little bit deeper and showing you the effect of the end of World War II. This is your summative question. So what reason do the United States have in dropping the atomic bomb? You could even spin it to, were we justified in dropping the atomic bomb? Was it right to do? But for this case, for credit recovery, do not overthink this. So in terms of what reason did we have to drop it, just stick with the simple.